Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, The Lost Chevalier, and you're welcome back to Cabin Fever. Last episode, sadly, was the audio was fucked up because my mic, the software I use, Voice Mod, decided to take the mic of the webcam instead of the mic of the microphone, so the result was terrible. But we're gonna load the game, and we were in Chapter 7. So here is where we left. The next morning, I awoke to the sound of a rain softly pelting the windows. The storm had passed, leaving only a damp, drizzly day behind. I kept my eyes closed and listening. I could hear the faint sound of the rain dripping from the downspout along the house. I stretched out my arms. The bed around me was empty and cold. Mallory was gone, but I knew she had been there because I could still feel her on my skin. The cabin felt extra chilly. I got out of bed and dressed up warm. Pulling on a pair of worn-out slippers, I made my way downstairs. Right away I spotted Mallory in the kitchen, and I felt my face break into a smile. She had a bucket and a bunch of rags out, and she seemed to be cleaning quite furiously with a cloth and spray bottle in hand. "Good morning." She started upright, fumbling and dropping the spray bottle. It clattered on the floor and at her feet.
You scared me.
Sorry. I guess these slippers add plus one to my sneak ability. Mallory went to pick up the bottle. When she stood back up, I noticed how red her cheeks were, and how the rest of her face looked almost sickly pale. "Are you feeling okay?" She quickly averted her gaze.
I'm fine. I just got dizzy from standing up so quickly.
I didn't think I really believed her. She was feeling awkward. Maybe even hiding something. Had I done something to make her uncomfortable? I looked around at the sparkling kitchen, the cabinets, appliances, and dishes all gleaming like new. "You must have woken up really early to get this much of work done. Did you get enough sleep?"
What's that? Oh, yes I did.
"You are distracted, Mallory. What is happening?" Then her face softened and her tone turned sincere.
I think last night was the best sleep I've ever had.
"Yay. That's good." My heart fluttered with acknowledgement and with the memory of falling asleep with her in my arms. "Good, I agree." She nodded and turned back to finish up her chores in the kitchen. I decided to check in with work stuff, so I put it on my computer. There were only a handful of emails needing attention. I handled those and glanced through my work deadlines, making sure I was still on track with each of my freelance jobs. For whatever reason, I wasn't finding it easy to focus. I kept glancing out the window, then zooming out as I watched the drilling rain. It really showed no signs of stopping. I noticed an empty glass I'd left on the table outside was filled to the brim with rainwater. The soaked wooden planks on the deck looked dark like caramel. I thought about the coming winter. I do have to show Mallory how to protect the garden and the hens and the bees when the colder weather came. And then there were all the fun things we could do together. I wonder if she'd ever gone tobogganing before, or had a bonfire out in the snow. If I could find somewhere online to buy marshmallows and order them right away, they might get dropped out sometime in the winter. There came a sudden clatter and thud from the kitchen. I jumped, nearly knocking my coffee mug off the desk. "Mallory?" She didn't answer. I stood up quickly, walking over to see what had happened. My throat tightened when I looked past the counter. Mallory lay sprawling on the floor, her cheeks red and beads of sweat gleaming on her forehead. Her eyes were closed, her head gently lolling to the side. "Mallory!" I rushed to her side, dropping to my knees and propping her up in my arms. The touch of her skin warmed my hands. She was burning hot. She was burning up. A groan left her lips and her eyes fluttered open. "Mallory, are you okay?"
Hey there. Why are we on the floor?
You passed out." Her gaze seemed to drift past me as though she was having a hard time focusing. "You must have fainted. I knew something wasn't right. Why didn't you tell me?"
I'm fine. It was just a sudden dizzy spell. I haven't eaten breakfast, that's probably it.
"No, that's not it." But I could feel her body started to tremble. Her skin felt fever hot. And yet there were goosebumps on her arms and legs. Shit. My only instinct now was to make sure she was okay. I lift her up off the floor.
Oh my...
Come on.
What are you doing? Ew! Put me down!
Nope. I quickly carry her over to the couch and put her down there. I cover her in blankets and tuck her in tightly, my face set with grim determination. I brushed her head back to feel her forehead and ignored the anxious way my stomach clenched. I darted back into the kitchen, grabbed the temperature scanner from the drawer, and returned to Mallory's side.
Honestly, I'm fine. I probably just overworked myself.
I don't think so, my love. Not buying it. I held up the scanner. It seemed to take forever and never to come up with a reading, and when it did, my heart sank. You definitely have a fever. Mallory seemed to shrink under the blanket. Seeing her like this, looking so helpless and uncertain, made my heart feel like it was being painfully squeezed. Is it your leg? Let me look at it. Maybe you have developed an infection. When did you start feeling sick? This morning? We can get your temperature under control with some aspirin. No worries. And then we will go from there. I didn't know when I started to pace, but there I was, heading this way and that, making my way over to the kitchen to search for whatever it was that could help me, help her. Then I filled the glass with water and reached up to my cupboards for the aspirin bottle, grateful to have kept a supply. Except it wasn't there. Where was it? Had I misplaced it? Maybe Mallory had put it away somewhere else by mistake. I bought her the glass of water anyway and used a damp cloth to cool her forehead. Shh, just relax and let me take care of you for a minute, okay? She opened her mouth to argue, probably, but had backed down when she saw the look in my eyes. Stay there. I moved to her feet and pushed back the blankets to expose her injured leg, and I carefully unwrapped the gauze and peeled back the bandages to see what was going on. There was bruising around the wound, and it's still a bit swollen, but then... It had only been a few days. The healing process for something like this will take weeks. I should be keeping a closer eye on this. I shook my head. Damn it. Drink your water, okay? You should have something to eat. What would you like?
I'm not really hungry. I just feel a bit tired. I'm sure I'll feel good as new if I just have a little nap.
Don't worry. I let out a concerned sign, but agreed. After tucking her in a little tighter, I crossed back into the kitchen and stood there aimlessly for a minute or two. I didn't know what to do. Make her a pot of soup, said my brain. Good idea, brain, I thought. Carrots, onions, celery, potatoes. Potatoes? Oh no, of course I don't have potatoes. I muttered to myself as I searched my kitchen for ingredients, then began roughly chopping what I had. There was some rice in the pantry, I knew, and some peas in the freezer. So I was dipping my soup ingredients into a pot with a shower of salt and dried parsley. I covered all of it with a stock and I'd made for kitchen bones and veggie scraps, then set it to the simmer. When I crept back over to check on Mallory, I found her deeply asleep. I exchanged the damp cloth of her forehead and peeled more blankets around her, then just sat and watched her, feeling dismayed. Deep down, I knew what this could be. But I didn't want to think about that. And if I did have to think about it, I didn't want to believe it. And if I had every reason to believe it... No. I stood up and returned to the kitchen, gave the bubbling soup a stir, and remembered the aspirin. I started searching for it again, checking each of the drawers and cabinets. I searched in the bathroom and in the living room, even getting down to my knees to see if it had rolled beneath some furniture. That's when I spotted, hidden beneath the couch where Mallory was resting. I reached under the couch and grabbed the bottle. A feeling of immense dread began to form within me. Already could tell by the weight of the bottle and the silence as I turned it, but I had to see it to believe it. I popped off the cap and looked inside. The bottle was empty, at least 20, maybe 30 tablets gone in less than a week. I looked up at Mallory's sleepy face, and jumped at a loud thwack on the window. Irrationally, I wondered if someone had thrown a rock. It was more likely that a bird had flown into the glass, especially considering how clean it had been since Mallory came to stay. I went to the window to check. Sure enough, a large black bird lay dead on the porch. It appeared to have snapped its neck when it hit the window. Oh, foreshadowing. Mallory will hate to see that. I glanced back at her, a little worried and then wake up by talking to myself. But even the loud noise of the bird hitting the window hadn't caused her to stir. In that moment, I realized I was still clenching the empty aspirin bottle. I looked down at it. She must have been taking them in secret, but why? For the pain in her leg? Or for some other ailment? An overwhelming sensation of frustration washed over me in that moment, and without thinking, my hand squeezed the bottle so tightly that it broke. I threw the broken bottle in the trash and stormed outside to deal with the dead bird's body. It wasn't until the evening that Mallory woke up. She started coughing right away, even as she sat up clenching the blankets close to herself.
Huh? What time is it?
It's the evening. Don't get up, at least not so fast. Let me help you. I stood in the kitchen, tending the soup that had been keeping warm for hours. Mallory looked around groggily, rubbing her eyes.
But it's nighttime. Why did you let me sleep so long? I only wanted to rest for an hour or so.
Sorry, but your body was like that. That's not what your body wanted. I'm glad you got some rest anyway. It was clearly much needed. Though Edo told her not to move yet, she bundles the blankets around her and made her way over to the kitchen.
Hi.
Oh, my love. Hi. She leaned against the support beam. Her cheeks were still red and her eyelids looked heavy. The way she wrapped the blanket around herself made her resemble a colorful turtle, with her long, slender arms poking out to hold onto the beam. How do you feel?
My muscles are a bit achy, but I don't feel cold anymore. I think all the blankets you piled on top of me helped.
I nodded and turned my attention back to the stove. I wanted to ask about the aspirin, but I was nervous.
Wait, are you cooking?
Yes. She took a step towards me, trying to peer into the pot, then bubbled and I had to return to the support beam. It looked as though she barely had any strength to stand. I bit my tongue, not wanting to be overbearing. I had to get her to sit back down by offering her some food. I am. It's ready to eat now. We have a seat and go have a seat and I will bring you a bowl. I half expected her to argue, to insist she could get her own bowl or that I should sit while she served me, but instead she just backed away and went to sit at the table.
It looks really good. Thank you for making it.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I bet you thought I had no cooking skills. Well, it's finally my time to shine. She laughed half-heartedly.
I look forward to seeing what you're capable of, cooking senpai.
Oh my god. Please don't die. She folded her blankets neatly over the chair beside her, then placed her arms on the table to form a pillow for her head. She sat with her head down until I set a bowl of soup beside her.
Oh, that looks so wonderful.
She leaned over to the steaming bowl with her eyes closed, holding back her hair as she breathed it slowly. I used lots of spices. They make all the difference when flavoring a dish. I gave her a little wink and she smiled.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. We both raised steaming spoons of soup, blowing on them softly. Only Mallory's exhalation turned raspy, hitching, and she started to cough. She dropped her spoon back into the bowl and held a hand up to her throat. She drew a deep breath, looking dismayed.
So sorry.
Too spicy?
No, I can't. I don't know why.
Mallory tried her best to stifle the cough with little success. A nervous laugh came out of my mouth. Those auto-allergies are so annoying, am I right? She didn't answer. She was breathing very slowly and focusing very hard on bringing a spoonful of soup to her mouth. She slurped it, and honestly, she looked like she wanted to throw up. That bad?
No,
She was racked with another cough fit. Her chest seemed to rattle with each breath. I couldn't stand seeing her like this. I went to her, rubbing her back as I pushed a glass of water into her hands. Here, drink some. She nodded and clenched the glass hardly, trying her best to drink while her chest heaved. I'm recording, right? Yeah. Yeah. Everything's okay. Oh my god. For a moment I believe it was not. A minute later, after she managed to take a few sips, she was able to breathe a little more easily.
I'm so sorry. I can't seem to stop.
Don't worry. You don't have to be sorry. Tears began to roll down her face. They splashed onto the table and into her neglected soup bowl. What if... No, shh. More tears dripping from her eyes, more cough rattling in her chest. You don't have to worry, everything will be okay. All you need to do is rest and let me take care of you. This will pass.
I think I maybe just want to lie
My god, no. My love. Okay, I will have you upstairs to the bed. You will be extra comfy there. She gave a small nod. Her eyes were puffy and red as she gathered up her blankets in her arms. We headed for the stairs. I walked with her, taking the steps one at a time and holding her in case she lost her strength. Her skin felt even hotter, burning me even through her sleeve. She needed a fever reducer, that was certain. I made a mental note to check when the new bottle of aspirin I ordered would arrive. Once we made it to the upper floor, Mallory pushed me away and started coughing into the blankets, doubling over and trying to muffle the sound of her pain. I unfurled the bed covers and helped her climb in, straightening out her collection of blankets and pulling all the covers up over her.
All these blankets are so heavy. I can barely move.
Oh, my love. Good, that means you're tuckling safe and sound. I brushed her head back, tracing the side of her burning face with my fingertips. I'm going to get you some water and things, and I will be back, okay? I hurried back downstairs and started loading up a tray with water, a few damp face cloths, and her uneaten bowl of soup. I want her to have it right there beside her the minute she had an appetite. But of course, that wouldn't be enough. I racked my brain for anything I had in the house to help drive down her fever. Then it hit me. My mother used to talk about the healing properties of basil and garlic. I couldn't recall the specifics, but it was something. And I had both of those items growing in my home. I rushed over to the kitchen to fill the kettle with water. While that was coming up to boil, I darted into the aquaponics farm. Into my aquaponics room, no farm. There were 4 medium-sized basil plants sitting happily under their grow lights, waiting for me to harvest their emerald petals. In that moment, my heart inflated twice its size, full of joy that I might finally be able to do something to help soothe Mallory's pain. I plucked a handful of leaves from all the basil plants, which were different strains, but I didn't think it would matter. Next, I dug out some garlic and extracted a homemade jar of honey that was sitting on the back shelf. Looking around on all the plants and fish, I did one last scan in case there was anything else I could use. On impulse, I spotted a bright red hibiscus flower in bloom, and plucked it. The lone flower had an unusual bright color amongst all the other dark leafy greens. Dashing back to the kitchen, I added the garlic, basil, and honey to the boiling water. That's gonna taste horrible. The concoction probably wouldn't taste very good, but I hope it will soothe her throat and help her with her cough. Delicately, I placed the flower on the tray, along with a mug of freshly brewed tea. The smell was overpowering. Maybe she wouldn't be able to smell it. Ascending the stairs, I could hear Mallory coughing. She wasn't trying to stifle it anymore. I passed the steps, waiting for her to finish letting it out, a small groan followed by the coughing fit. I climbed the rest of the way up the stairs, plastering what I hope was an optimistic expression on my face. Hey, I'm back, and I brought you your soup, in case you have an appetite. Also some tea that should help with that cough. She pulled up the covers close to her face in a poor attempt to hide herself. I rested the tray next to the bed and placed one of the damp clothes on her forehead. Don't worry, love. In the dim light of the bedside lamp, I could see trickles of sweat on her face, neck and breast.
Thank you, but you're doing too much for me.
No, please, it doesn't feel like enough. Isn't there anything else I can get for you? Her expression turned into a perplexed one for a moment. Then she forced a little smile.
Well, now that you mention it, I could use some tissues.
Right away. Alright, I got something to throw in here. Ta-da! She took the packet of tissues and turned her face away, coughing a wet, guttural cough.
Why are you so determined to take care of me?
Why, I wonder why that will be, my sweet, sweet love. Her gaze was filled with hope and confusion. I took her hand in mine and gave it a small squeeze. Because I love you. You will do the same for me, would you? Her lips parted and eyes opened wide. She gave me a soundless nod of reassurance. It's a no-brainer. I care about you and want you to feel better. It's simple as that. Also, I love you. Did I mention that? I should mention that more often. I love you. There was a long silence between us then, exchanging our knowing looks of gentle hand squeezes. I thought about the aspirin, the 20 or 30 pills that had disappeared in the space of a few days. Hey, I found the aspirin bottle, by the way. She gasped, pulling back her hand from mine to cover her face.
I'm so sorry. I should have said something sooner.
No, my love. I mean, yeah, you should have. Was it for your leg, to stop it hurting, or did you know you were developing a fever? You know what? It doesn't matter. I placed an order for more. It should be here tomorrow for the next day, I think. So hang in there. I wanted you to know that I'm grateful to have you here, and I care about you very much. Painting her fingers to let her eyes peek through, she slowly lowered her defenses.
I don't want to be sick.
I know.
I don't want you to get sick.
I know. I'm not worried about that.
You can't be near me. You need to stay away.
No. I stretched out next to her on the bed, my face resting close to hers. I'm staying right here, by your side, no matter what. She turned to look at the tray of soup with the water and tea beside it.
What a pretty flower. Where did it come from?
The aquaponics farm. She reached over and gently picked up the scarlet blossom. From my fish garden, or whatever you call it. It must have opened up today. I don't remember seeing it when I fed the fish yesterday.
It's beautiful. What type of flower is it?
Hibiscus. A hibiscus. They only bloom for a short while, so we're lucky we got to see it. It can make a beautiful tea too. She lay there with her eyes closed with the flower pressing to her nose. The petals make a wonderful tea. I will make you some with the other blossoms, if you like. Mallory opened her eyes but didn't look at me. She was staring into space, deep in thought. What is it?
Oh, nothing. The rain sounds nice. I think it's making me sleepy.
Okay. I didn't quite believe that. It seemed like there was something she didn't want to say. But I couldn't push her now. That's perfectly alright. You have a sweet dreams now, okay?
Good night.
Good night. I lay there watching her breathe, counting the minutes between each cockpit, resting my hand on her burning chest so I could feel her heartbeat. I have been somewhere like this before. My parents. I had tried my best to care for them when they were sick. I'd been so afraid, but I hadn't gotten sick. A part of me almost wondered, even hoped, that I might be immune. That thought in the back of my mind hasn't eased my fear of strangers, of Mallory when she first appeared in my life. But now I didn't care. Either way, all I wanted was for her to get better. Eventually, I drift off to sleep too. Ooh la la. Chapter 8, Infection. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all the time I have for today. Thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you had a blast. I was the Lost Chevalier, signing out. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. I hope Mallory's okay. I hope she doesn't die. Oh my god. This game is turning to be a nightmare.